Good morning and welcome everyone to Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching the opening bell and I'm your host Nickey Mirchandani. Well, Indian equity market set for a weak start in sync with the global cues. GIFT Nifty earlier, SGX Nifty somewhat is hinting at a red start coming in for the Lal Street. However, talk about US shares. They ended lower on stronger retail data. Asian shares somewhat have steadied by now. They've bared losses on China GDP data and Mideast risk, which has lifted oil prices. But let's talk about FII data. A bit of relief there, but not to an extent that we'd like. But shares to an extent of 263 crore and DIIs purchase equities to an amount of around 112 odd crore. In terms of what we have for FII in FNO, that's the one that needs to be talked about. Well, FIIs at least the trend has been encouraging rather on the index futures front and the index option front where they have been the buyers. They've also been buyers in the stock futures, Bank Nifty futures, along with Bank Nifty options. So across the board, the trend is encouraging for overall the FNO space. Overall, let's talk about FNO ban now. What is new in the ban? There's no entry there, but still in ban or still remains in the ban is SAIL, BHEL, Delta Corp, Balrampur Chini, Hindustan Corp, India Cement, Manappuram, India Bull Housing Finance, MCX. What comes out of the ban is Sun TV, PNB, option queues at this point of time, Nifty PCR, put call ratio stands at 1.08 versus 1.04 in the previous session, perhaps indicating that the market somewhat is stabilizing and is not in an overbought territory. Earnings that need to be watched out for. Let's discuss also the trade setup and the strategies for the day, along with few recommendations coming in from Rajesh Palviya from Axis Securities joining us this morning. Rajesh, good morning.
Good morning, Nickey.
All right, what's the trade setup looking like? Do you think Bajaj Finance can give the required lift to the markets? And your strategy for Nifty, Bank Nifty and Bajaj Finance?
So overall structure is bullish and Nifty is now penetrating to its the major resistance zone area of 19,800-850 zone. So once we able to cross above 19,850 level, then another round of short covering action we can witness in the Nifty, and possibly we can head further higher towards 20,000 mark for this in the month of October itself. So I think overall structure is bullish for the Nifty. Buy on dip should be your strategy until the Nifty not breaks below 19,650 level. Your trade setup should be on the buying side only. So to play this upside momentum of Nifty, we are initiating here slight in the money call option. One can buy 19,750 call option at 101 rupees for this current weekly expiry. And we are projecting target of 140 to 150 on the higher side, and one can keep a stop loss of 55. Bank Nifty is also looking bullish. Short covering action was there. Once Bank Nifty crosses above 44,600, then another round of short covering we can see towards 45,000 level. So one can buy an equivalent Bank Nifty also with stop loss of 44,000 level.
All right, Rajesh. Nifty and Bank Nifty done. I'm going to come back to you and check with you Bajaj Finance in just a minute. Let me address the market open first. Nifty 50, we are looking at weak start coming in for Nifty 50. 19,800 mark. That has been taken off. Bank Nifty, another one for you where we are looking at some amount of perhaps that's an important one. Let's actually look at Bank Nifty just to see how is that stacking up. Overall, just to see the trend coming in for Bank Nifty. There it is, 0.2% of loss coming in for Bank Nifty, 44,300 mark. That's the level that we are working with. Well, advances 29, declines 20. Market breadth pretty much remains, at least at the start of the trade, in the favor of advances. The market breadth has only improved. Mid-cap index have been doing well. Small cap indices also perhaps doing well in trade today. Let's talk about what we have in terms of the sectoral indices just to see how the trend is stacking up for the morning. IT, we're looking at gains and a decent amount of gains coming in, 0.2% of gains coming in for the IT basket. FMCG too is acting in sync with IT. And also let's look at something like auto for that matter, FMCG for that matter. Well, pharma, at least the whole defensive pack right now is doing well in trade. Let's also talk about, something like an auto realty metal index just to see how the trend's stacking up there. Auto is not really doing too well. Some amount of, let's just say, surrender to some amount of selling pressure in early deals. Metal seems to be gaining some amount of traction. 0.4% clocked in for the metal basket. and Realty Index right now too. A flat trend with negative bias coming in for the Realty Index. Let's also talk about the top gainers and the top losers that we have in the list apart from the sectoral indices that we've just seen. Well, we are looking at gains coming in for Hindalco, Cipla and ONGC. These are some of the top gainers that we have. Apart from that, we also have Infosys, JSW Steel and Grasim. These are some of the top gainers on the list, and look at that, Titan also makes it on the list ahead of the marriage season, a festive season perhaps that will work in the favor of the company. Bajaj Finance on the other hand is the top loser along with Bajaj Finserv, Tata Consumer Products, M&M, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank. So put together, it is the entire financials which at this point of time are weighing down on the markets. I'm going to be talking about Bajaj Finance in just a bit, but let's go back to Rajesh and check with him. What does he make out of Bajaj Finance and what is the strategy for Bajaj Finance?
So stock has rallied ahead of numbers, but some profit taking is happening in the after this opening, and I think looking at the gap down opening or some follow-up selling is already there. So 8,000 is the immediate supply zone for the stock on the high side. So until the stock not again manages to cross above 8,000 level, some pressure we can see towards 7920, even 7860 level on the downside, as the stock has now given a breakdown of its upsloping trend line. So 8,000 is the key level to watch for today's session. If we recover above 8,000 level, then possibly some pullback action towards 8150, 8200 can be there on the stock. But now after this opening, we will wait as stock has given the breakdown below 8,000 level.
All right, and Nifty has clearly come off that crucial mark that we're looking at. What's the next support level for the markets? How are you looking at it? How are you looking at the opening right now?
So opening is slight muted, but overall structure is bullish. Long build-up was there in previous session. So I think 19,750 is the important level on the Nifty spot. If at all Nifty not breaks below those levels, then I think support buying action will again come in the system, and then some pullback action will be there in the Nifty itself. So 19,750, another 30 point. If we get any dip towards those levels, then we will buy with stop loss of 19,730 level.
All right, Rajesh, I'm going to come back to you in just a jiffy if we have more in that case, because need to interest in stocks and news. Bajaj Finance essentially, where the numbers have been slightly below the poll, or let's just say estimates. NIMs have been holding up well overall. AUM, perhaps the growth has been the sharpest that you've seen in multi-quarter. But just look at the basic numbers where the net profitability is up by 27.8%. NIIs have come up by 30%, and the NIMs have stood at 9.92% versus 10.14% YOY, and 9.92% compares to 9.95% sequentially. Well, a bit of dip, at least on the sequential basis for the calculated NIMs. What Jeffries essentially has to say, it is raise the target price but maintain the call rating. Buy rating, beg your pardon. It's also suggested the bottom line rise is strong but below expectation. The AUM growth of 33% is strong and broad-based. Entry into new segment is only expected to aid growth. NIMs are expected to compress over next 2 to 3 quarters by 25 to 30 basis points. And there is a stronger and operating leverage which is only expected to aid NIMs going forward. Now, we also have another one IT company that we're going to be talking about, L&T Technologies, where, again, the guidance pretty much beat on the margin front, but there has been a guidance cut which has come through for L&T Technologies. Addressing in the basic numbers first, where the net profitability is up by 1.5%, revenue is up by 3.7%, EBIT is up by 3%, and the margins have been steady around that 17% level. Dollar revenue stands pretty much higher by 2.9%. Now, there is a bit of, you can see that sharp reaction coming in, 3.43%. Perhaps the third IT company to go ahead and slash guidance. So that's the one which is perhaps weighing down on the sentiment overall for L&T Tech, where there is also a downgrade which is coming from Incred on the counter. The downgrade is to hold, and the target price has been revised lower to 4,606 rupees. It's lowered FY25 Overall, the company has lowered FY24 revenue guidance to 17.5% to 18.5% versus the target figure of around 20% that they had guided in earlier. However, the company, like other IT companies, has retained in that EBIT margin guidance of 17%. Overall, the cash flow or the EBIT was at 61.4% in the first half versus 60% in the corresponding period of the previous year. So there is a solid execution which is coming on the margin front, but that's also likely. It's steadied around that 17% mark. InCred says that they await better entry point for this company. Hudco, where the government is also going to be selling in 7% stake. That's the third stock. Perhaps via an OFS, the offer price has been kept at 79 rupees per share. And this includes both the base size of 3.5% and a green shoe option of around 3.5%. But I'm going to go back to Rajesh and check with him what does he make out of something like now L&T Technology Services. That's another IT company which has taken a hit in the entire pack. Looks like the pain is not really done for the IT pack. What do you make out of it? What are the levels that you're suggesting?
So stock was moving in upsloping channel, but after this today's gap down, yes, stock has given a breakdown of its upward trend line on the weekly as well as on the daily chart. Now stock is slipped below to its 50-day moving average. So I think some more follow-up selling we can see in the stock prices towards 4420, 4400 level on the downside. So I think one should avoid at this moment. I think some more pressure will be there. One can again review around 4400. That's the next major support area for this near-term trend. So if it continues to trade now below 45-40 level, then possibly furthermore follow-up selling we can see in the today's session towards 4400 level.
All right, Rajesh, we are going to leave it at that. And thank you for taking out the time and speaking to us this morning. All right, next we're going to be talking to our fundamental guest, A.K. Prabhakar, who heads the research at IDBI Capital, joining us and talking more about perhaps the IT and the financial packs. Morning there. I just want to start off by asking you about your assessment overall now for the IT pack and what are your expectations from Wipro, essentially, because that's going to be the one that's going to be reporting in the numbers. L&T Tech has taken a sharp cut in today's trade after the guidance cut has come in by another IT company. What do you make out of it and what do you like within the basket?
Yeah, good morning. Now, see, yeah, we need to understand, for a long-term investor, looking at, every quarter result is not something great. But, Wipro, we are not too gung-ho about it. So, we will give a pass in Wipro's results. But there are few companies which reported wonderful result in IT pack itself. So Newgen came with the results where we have upgraded our target to 1,220. So we are very positive on the stock. And in the first two quarters, quarter one and quarter two are historically weak quarters for them. But when they have given a very good growth in the first two quarters, I think third and fourth quarter is going to be very good. So we have one of the highest target for the stock. I think like that, there are few spaces where you have a very good growth and very good results coming up. There will be disappointment. We are not gung-ho about IT pack. There will be disappointment. But for a long-term investor, good correction, 10 to 15% correction gives a very good opportunity to buy and hold these stocks. That is our thought process.
What do you like within the space?
Yeah, we indicated Newgen. BS Soft is one more company we like. Tech Mahindra for a long-term investor we like. LTI Mindtree, if it corrects another 10%, it would be a good entry point also.
All right. I also wanted to chat with you about Hudco before I get on to the conversation for Bajaj Finance, because the stock right now is plunged in trade by as much as 8% after the reports have suggested that the government has proposed in selling the stake by an OFS, 7% equity via an OFS for the company. It has a base as well as green shoe option for that equity. How are you looking at this? The floor price has been offered at 79 per equity share, which is way lower as compared to the market price right now, also after the sharp losses that has come through. What's your assessment with the divestment and the proposal that is coming for Hudco?
I won't be able to comment on this stock.
All right. How about Bajaj Finance? Let's
No,
talk
Bajaj,
about that.
Bajaj Finance, the result is good. No, 2,90,000 crore is the AUM. No, and they have shown a very good growth. Any growth about 25% in 3 years, it is going to double. So no, I don't foresee any problem. But valuation is bit pricey. So any correction, 5-6% correction in Bajaj Finance would be an opportunity to buy. So I don't think there is a disappointment. But only factor, which is impacting Bajaj Finance is Geo Finance. Now, what is their road forward? When they give that, that will have some impact on the Bajaj Finance thing. Otherwise, if you are growing at 28%, 29%, it is wonderful.
All right, that's the word coming in. Perhaps a bit of NIM compression seen by most of the brokerages seems to be weighing down for Bajaj Finance. But another question that I have for you relates really to the whole, right now, if you just make a comparison in the IT basket, of course, we're going to be navigating about the conversation again to Wipro. Are you expecting any kind of shockers coming in from Wipro? Traditionally, how are the numbers, and what's going to be one parameter or perhaps 2-3 parameters that you think will be key monitorables for this company?
No, see, they are in, there are a lot of people leaving Wipro. So, we track Wipro, but, I won't like to preempt anything in Wipro because it has become a very difficult company to, do it on any metrics. So, I will give a pass in Wipro.
All right, Mr. Prabhakar, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to us this morning. All right, let's talk about major themes in Q2 results thus far for overall the IT sector. There is a fair bit of macroeconomic uncertainty, which is shaky environment in US and EU, which is significant markets for the software service exporters. There has been an impact of elevated interest rates and effects of decision making. Along with that, higher interest rates, weak consumer sentiment in Western economies have also caused a slowdown in the discretionary spending, delays in decision making, and the conversion of business deals for across the board on these players. But what I'd want to highlight is 3-4 points that have stood out for me for the entire IT pack, which is reported in the numbers thus far. We're going to be talking about Wipro 2 strong deal pipeline, where all the three companies have reported a solid deal win, offering in relief to the investors. TCS has achieved its second highest ever TCV, that is total contract value. Infosys and HCL both reported their highest ever large deal TCVs. So that's a bit of surprise which has come in, or a thing that is working in the favor of these companies, apart from the margin improvement across the board for all three companies thus far. I've not taken into consideration L&T Technologies, but only the TCS, Infosys and HCL for the comparison. All three companies have outperformed on the margin front, essentially due to the cost control measures and the efficiency improvements which have come by rationalizing employee structure and implementing efficiency enhancement. What is a cause of concern is the guidance cut which is coming from Infosys and HCL Tech, which is announced and cut in the FY24 revenue guidance. HCL Tech reduced the guidance. You also had Infosys, which is cutting in, and LTI also, for that matter. L&T Technologies, beg your pardon, which was gone ahead and gone for that cut. Let's also talk about the declining headcount, where that's again a pain point for all the entire sector. The expected muted hiring, IT firms technically conspicuously are absent. The premium, even for the premier engineering schools, they've lacked IT company presence for the September, which marked the start of the placement season. That's a bit of worry for the entire sector. But if I was just supposed to put on the preview for Wipro and the expectations, the revenue is expected to be impacted by a cut in discretionary spending and softness in BFSI, consumer and other verticals. There has been a deferment of wage hike and cost control measures which is expected to aid in margins for Wipro. Attrition is only expected to be moderated to 17.3% from 19.4%, but the head count again is expected to fall by 8,812 employees to a big number in Q1. What also we'd be eyeing is the senior level exits. The resignation of long-time Wipro CFO Jatin Dalal essentially has reignited the senior level attrition issue put together. So that's what we have in terms of the IT roundup and the preview for Wipro. But I'm also going to be talking about IRM Energy IPO, which is all set to open on October 18. The price band is fixed in the range of 545 crore. Beg your pardon, the issue size is 545 crore and the price band has been fixed at 480 to 505. Most of the analysts have recommended the investors to subscribe to the issue owing to the company's diverse customer portfolio, a well-managed distribution network of CNG and PNG, consistent development of its gas distribution business in its key geographical areas, and decent financial performance that they've seen in the past. But that's that in terms of what we have for today's setup. Markets have slipped a little lower. Hudco is the one that you need to keep an eye out on. Wipro will be reporting in the numbers and probably suggesting of some trend coming in for the markets. But with this, it's a wrap and goodbye from the entire team who put this piece together. Thank you so much for watching. Please do post your feedback for us in the comment section below. Follow us on the link at the bottom of your screen. And for rest of the updates, stay tuned into moneycontrol.com and Moneycontrol app.